All right, Open Floor NBA podcast covering the league and all the big stories going on in it. And happy to announce that this year we have a new weekly guest on the show, a guy that I watched play a lot over the course of his long career in the NBA. Got to know him a little bit when he was playing for the Boston Celtics. He had a career that covered a lot of different places, a lot of different spots in the NBA. The former number 2 overall pick in the draft, now a part of the Open Floor podcast. Evan Turner joining the show. What's up, ET?
Hey, what's up, Chris? How you doing? Thanks for having me. Thanks for thinking of me, man. I appreciate you.
I'm excited to have you. I've in the past when I've talked to you, and later on when I've seen you doing other podcasts and speaking on the NBA, I've always been really impressed with kind of your insights into the league. So I'm excited to get to know you and get to talk more about the league with you every single week, man. It's going to be great. It's going to be a lot of fun out there.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
All right, man. So I guess we just jump right into it here. And you and I were texting back and forth about different things to talk about this week. I want to ask you first, though, because Rachel Nichols and I were discussing this the other day. So I got to get your take on it. LeBron James, the decision 2.0. What was your reaction to LeBron's decision turned Hennessy ad? Did you have any thoughts on that?
You want to know what's so funny? I kind of already knew it was kind of fugazi. I didn't even tune in. Like, to be completely honest with you, I'm like, no, there's no way he's announcing already. And then once I heard about it, it turned out to be like a Hennessy ad. I'm like, I think he's at a point where he just wants to troll. You know what I mean? Like, I think he's at a point where he just wants to poke the bear, and I think he's just really having fun. And I think an inside joke isn't so funny to the masses. You know what I'm saying? Especially when it comes down to ticket prices with the last game at Staples Centers or Crypto Arena. I mean,
that's true. I bet there were a lot of people guessing that maybe that would be his last game, and they went out and overspent on tickets. I didn't even think of that maybe people in that moment. But like, I'm with you. I didn't know it was going to be a Hennessy ad, but it was just last year. I think he did a similar ad for Amazon Prime. And from what I know of LeBron, like, when he decides to announce, there's going to be a bigger rollout than just a social media clip that's teased 24 hours in advance. I mean, I remember when he went and did the decision, that was a big deal back then, kind of backfired on him a little bit. But even 4 years later, he planned out the essay with Sports Illustrated and the whole rollout there. So I feel like when he's ready to announce that it's over, it's not going to be that simple. I don't see it.
Yeah, I'll have a rollout fit for a king, to say the least. And only thing I'll say about this last rollout, like, a black man announcing he's drinking Hennessy is not like an announcement. Like, you know what I'm saying? I was kind of like, between this and the fried chicken festival in New Orleans, I'm like, come on, black people. We gotta, you know what I mean? We gotta mix some medicine in with the meal. You know what I'm saying?
We'll chalk that up to things I can't say, but good on you there.
Like the blackest thing on it, eh?
I get it. I get where you're coming from. I guess keep it with LeBron here off the top. It's year 23, but I think it's the most interesting year of his career because it's the first year out of any of them where he's not going to be the unquestioned alpha of his team. I guess you could sort of say when he first showed up in Miami, it was Dwayne Wade's team, but that changed very quickly down there and it became LeBron's team, and that's in part what made him successful. Whether it was Cleveland 1.0, the Cavs 2.0, this run with the Lakers, he has always been the number one guy. Do you think there's going to be any issues fitting in as a number 2 with Luka Doncic there?
No, I don't think so, because I think he's going to get plenty of touches, and it won't be the number 2. It'll be more so like the 1B. And I think if LeBron sits back and he goes about it, he really likes Luka Doncic. All his riff or raff is with things outside of the game. So I think that he'll be able to be the 1B, be in a position where he's going to have another high-level playmaker find him after he sets the screen, after he's rolling to the basket, but also give him a break to not fatigue during the season. Luka can carry the load and LeBron can pick places to be the best number 2. quote unquote, but he'll really be the, 1B. I understand legacy and everything like that, but I think there's a strong, respect there. And I think also too, JJ Redick will do a great job gauging and, handling that relationship, because once again, there is a lot of respect between the mutual parties. I think he needs to worry about the rest of the roster as opposed to worry about another top 5 player of this generation.
So do you like the rest of that roster? Because there's a lot of excitement out there about DeAndre Ayton. There's a lot of excitement out there about Marcus Smart. If this was 3 or 4 years ago, I could understand it, but both those guys have not been the players that they were earlier in their career. What do you think of the pieces that are around them right now?
I thought Marcus Smart was a good piece because they lost Dorian Finney-Smith. And when you sit there with LeBron and Luka, LeBron, because of his old age, he has to pick and choose when he's going to defend at a high level, and Luka is Luka in that situation. So Marcus Smart coming and trying to, defend and play at a high level, I think that's something they need. DeAndre Ayton, he still has to show me a little bit more. I think he took a couple of the past few years off, and he really has to buy into winning, and I think he's trying to show up to do so. But, once again, the front office has to go to work, and this isn't the end-all be-all for that roster, I hope, because, you have Austin Reeves sitting there worried about what's going to happen next year, but also, too, he's very talented. But if you're talking championship aspirations, that can't be your third best. That has to be a secret weapon or a 6-man killer. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think there is a question about the fit of Austin Reeves with Luka Doncic. They're handling the ball as much as he is. You've got 2 guys that are better with the ball in their hands. 3, I guess you throw LeBron into that mix, but LeBron seems to be accepting of playing off the ball a lot more this year. On Smart, I'm just wondering what's left in the tank. He's still relatively young by NBA standards, but he only played 54 games the last couple of years. And the guy I saw in Memphis and the guy I saw in Washington just wasn't the guy that won Defensive Player of the Year back in 2022. Like that guy was a different player altogether. Like, can he get that back or be like 80, 85% of that kind of player? I think that's a big question for the Lakers. And Ayton too, I had this conversation with some ex-players just the other day. Like, Ayton's been like a 17-10 guy his entire career. Even in Portland, he was right there at 17-10. Like, is he going to be comfortable at 10-8, which is probably what he's going to be if he's doing the right things in LA. He's not going to get the post touches he got in the past. He's going to be a lob recipient. There's going to be a lot of easy touches there playing opposite Luka, but is he going to be comfortable in that type of role? I think that's a big question for me.
Yeah, and it's a mental part as well, because Ayton, you can tell a lot of the outside factors affected how he's approached the game over the past couple of years. And you've seen playing with LeBron or even playing with Luka or that Laker atmosphere, it's always hard to be one of the others because they always seem to be blamed. And, when you have a big reputation like DeAndre Ayton, I can attest to this because I was a former number 2 pick. Even when it's not your business, they're going to throw you into it either way and look at the roster and be like, all right, well, why they lose tonight? Okay, couldn't it be Brian? Couldn't it be Luka? All right, I'm going to blame DeAndre. I'm going to blame, I'm going to blame so on and so forth. So hopefully mentally he can show up and be prepared for that, because it's much more than just, coming in, setting a screen and playing with 2 of the best players in the world.
You brought up your status as a former number 2 pick. Was there a point in your career where you kind of had to humble yourself? I'm sure you came into the league thinking, I'm going to be, the guy I was in college. I'm going to be the college player of the year. I'm going to be the number 1 on whatever team I'm going to. For you, was there a moment or something that sparked in you that being the kind of high level role player that you turned out to be was the right path?
I think in between the summer of 2014, it was free agency and, everybody was getting deals, and I didn't sign in Boston until almost September, and, I think that summer kind of made me realize I have to reinvent myself. It's almost like we spoke on with Entourage when Vinny Chase was like, yo, I'm not getting lead roles anymore. And, you go from directing to being like, yo, I just want to be part of the script. So I had to really adjust and figure out where I can get in. It went from being built around me to the rest of my career just being like, hey, adapt your game Monday. When Wednesday shows up, you're going to be the one sacrificing, adapting your game. But you also comprehend that, like, if you're that good and you know you're that good and you're the 8th best player on the team, it's probably for the sake of the betterment of the team, and it's going to benefit you far better than what you're going to do individually. So that sacrifice wasn't tough because I averaged 20 in Philly and nobody talked about it and it didn't get me paid. You know what I'm saying? So you have to adjust, and when you want to be part of it, it's sink or swim. It's easy to do. It's not tough. You just use your skill set.
You think Ayton has that ability to make the kind of adjustment you did?
I think he has a skill set to do it. I don't know him personally. I think one thing that everybody's always talked about was his mental ability. Being in Los Angeles should be an easier time to, I guess, tuck your tail or play the back seat, which he struggled to do because you're once again with LeBron. You're also with Luka, and you're trying to have championship aspirations. I also believe that JJ Redick is going to, hold them to a standard as well. I really do have a faith in that core. If not, he'll get up out of there and be a great trade piece. They need to make one more, get one more roster spot to really make this a believable championship team because that West is deep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, top to bottom. I mean, I was counting the other day, like there's like 14 teams in the West because you got to throw Portland in that mix because they had a strong finish to the season that believe that they are postseason capable. Now, whether that means the play-in or the playoffs, like they just believe it. I mean, that's every night you're going up against the killer out there.
Yeah, Portland got 3 top 100 players in Denny Avia, Tumani, or is it Kamara, and Drew Holiday. Yeah, and then you have Jerian Grant. You have a couple good players on the bench. I mean, it's going to be tough. That West is very, very deep. That play-in is going to be tough. I just hope no legends are in there that's getting knocked out in the play-in like we've seen the past couple of years. That would break my heart. And we haven't even spoke about the Warriors yet. You got to talk about Steph Curry because he's going to give himself a chance, especially with those additions.
They're fascinating because I think bringing Kuminga back was the right move. Hopefully he's all the way bought in. If he's not, he might wind up getting traded by midseason. But getting that resolved and getting him back in on a contract that he wanted to sign, I think is a positive. I love the Al Horford addition. I think he's going to the right team to play for at this stage. I thought Boston handled Al really well the last couple of years, not pushing him past like that 30-ish minute per game range, not playing him in a lot of back-to-backs. And Golden State's going to have the same approach with Horford. And look, Kevon Looney was a big part of that team's success over the last 10 years, but he wasn't, especially in the second half of last season, wasn't playing all that much. So I think Horford is going to be an upgrade over him. But like, where do you have the Warriors penciled in then right now? If you're looking at that playoff field, where do you slot them?
I always give the Warriors a top 4 chance. I always give Steph Curry a top 4 chance. And like, that's just blindly. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I always just, you mix in what he can do along with the toughness of Jimmy Butler and, the little situation they've always had going on, the chemistry with Draymond Green. You have shooters like Buddy Hield. You have a couple good players off the bench where I just think when it comes down to like a month-long season, I think the Warriors are tough to match up against, like just for a series. I think Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler are always going to have a chance. And I believe they'll make it to at least the semis in the Western Conference Finals, if not the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah, I think top 4, you got to tell me who the other guys are. Like, I look at that Oklahoma City, Denver lock for the top 2. I actually think Houston's going to wind up in the top 3 too. I don't think Houston's going to miss.
You do?
I don't think Houston's going to miss Van Vliet as much as people think. I think Amen is ready for that role. I think he's ready.
I always like Kawhi and the Clippers. Denver, Clippers, OKC, Warriors. Only reason why I'm not a big fan of Houston, I have to see more of Amen ball handle. They don't have many ball handlers. They don't like a lot of veteran playmaking. And right now, I think Amen and Reed Shepherd are going to have to learn on the fly. I believe they have the right type of coach to set it up. And I think KD is going to be able to play KD level, but you have to get me to the Segun's very, very good, but I don't like KD sometimes being stuck in a net situation or even last year with the Suns, like it has to darn near go perfect for him to make it happen. And that's not a diss to KD. It's just like, you need more dogs because, he's going to silently try to lead the way. But I like what Denver Nuggets have done. If I'm sitting down watching Nuggets versus the Warriors, man, and you can tell me and shut up, Chris, but I'm going to take Chef and them. Like, I'm going to bet my last little dollar, even though I love how they rebuilt the bench in Denver. I love that they brought back Bruce Brown. I love that they brought in Tim Hardaway Jr. and double-digit scorer. Jonas Valanciunas, he scored 10-plus points in 18 minutes. They're trying to play him like Jokic off the bench. They have a lot of chemistry and a lot of defensive depth. And anytime your main core has a habit of winning 50 games a year with the best player in the world, it does sign you up for a pretty good situation.
It's funny to bring it back to the Rockets for a second. Like, I was down in Houston a couple of weeks ago, and I sat down with KD for a while. And something you said there was also something that he said, like the need for a margin for error. The need for a little more wiggle room. Like, he didn't feel like he had that in the 2 years in Phoenix. He does feel like he does have it in Houston. And I kind of agree with him. I think Sengun is only going to get better. He was an all-star last year. He's coming off a ridiculous performance at Eurobasket, where he was one of the best players in the entire tournament. Jabari Smith, same thing, a year older, a little bit better. I mean, Jabari Smith's a 6'11 guy who wants to be a great isolation scorer. Well, he's got the greatest 6'11 isolation scorer ever to work with every single day in practice. And look, it's hyperbole, but I'm not sure there's like 3 guys in the NBA that the Rockets would trade Amen Thompson for. That's how high they are on this kid's potential. Like, he did a nice job in a short window filling in for Van Vliet last season. He told me all summer long, even before the Van Vliet injury, he said he and his brother were down in southern Florida working on guard skills, lead guard skills, trying to be better at that aspect of the game. Look, it puts more pressure on Reed Shepherd to be able to do something this year and make 3-point shots in an NBA game. But I don't know. I mean, Fred's a great locker room guy. Fred's a vet. But if you can get 35 minutes out of Amen Thompson at the 1, if he can be low turnover and just get the team into its offense, what they're getting from that on the defensive side is ridiculous. Amen Thompson's already a top 5 defensive player in this league. KD can still dial it up at times defensively. Jabari Smith protects the rim. They've got one of the biggest lineups you're ever going to see. I'm bullish, man.
No, you can go 2-3 with the lineups as well. Only thing I'm just saying is like they're missing like depth of shooting. They don't have so many shooters. That's it. Like,
you're right.
You got KD, you have Jabari, Smith when he doesn't want to go ISO one-on-one, but you just need to find a couple more shooters. Fred VanVleet, he not only has experience, he has championship experience. Remember what he did in the finals versus the Warriors. He didn't miss. So that toughness, being able to space the floor and sometimes not. It seems like every team that KD goes on, when things break down, it seems like they have to use ISO ball. But now that they have Sengun, I feel like they can play through Sengun a little bit more dribble handoff, so it won't put so much pressure on Amen Thompson. But it'll be legit. I'm not mad at that either, man, because I want, KD's legacy to keep being added to, because we are looking at one of the best players.
Yeah, the Van Vliet stuff, like, he was great in the finals a long time ago now. Last year, last year, look at some of the numbers. He shot 37% from the field last year. Granted, I think he'd be better, when not having to shoot quite so much with Kevin around. I just think that Amen is going to blossom. That's just what I'm buying into. I'm buying more into Amen Thompson than not buying into Fred VanVleet. I think Amen is just a special talent.
And I'm not against you either, and I'm a big Fred VanVleet fan. When you look at tier point guards, in that league, you might throw him in 4th or 5th. You just have lots of respect for him. But I used to be in games in Toronto. I was like, man, Kyle Lowry and Fred VanVleet are shooting 20 times a night a piece. You can't, you can't win that way. And it's also tough as a 5'11" point guard to do that night in and night out and not shoot 37%.
Yeah, you're right. Having the pressure taken off him, which would have been this year with Durant, would have been a huge benefit for him in that lineup. With Oklahoma City, they didn't have any big free agent signing, but they didn't really need one, because I think the room for like the organic growth alone is going to make them, I think, a better team. Like Chet Holmgren missed 50 games last year with that hip injury. Like you give him a full offseason healthy, just work on his strength. He's going to come back, I think, and be able to play a lot more five against a lot more teams, this season. Jalen Williams, this is why I talk all the time about the importance of drafting. There were 2 All-Stars from the 2022 NBA draft. One was Paolo Banchero, the number 1 overall pick. The other was Jalen Williams, who was drafted in the back half of the lottery. Like, if you draft well in this league, you are going to wind up succeeding. But there's another level I think he can go to next year. Look, there's a lot of tough teams in the West, but do you still put Oklahoma City at the top? Are they still unquestionably the team to beat?
Yeah, I think they're definitely unquestionably the team to beat. You mentioned Chet Holmgren sent out, but they also miss Hardenstein as well. And then miss a beat. And this is if they stay healthy and have the first full year of being together, this is still a young core. Even last year when they lost in the finals, they kind of laughed it off. This was the NBA finals. And even when they lost to the Denver Nuggets, they kind of laughed it off a little bit. And they're like, this isn't a big deal. I think the confidence over there, what SGA is doing, Jalen Williams, I expect him in this conversation to move into the top 10 after the season. What he's done in the playoffs, how good of that backcourt is. You have a 2-headed monster coming at you along with a solid 8 and great coaching, and that energy. They're you don't even have to worry about them having a championship hangover because they're about business. And I'm a big fan of that group, that team. And if it comes down to it, if the Warriors can't get her done, I can't. The defending champs, the OKC, it's going to be hard to beat them.
Man, you're taking Golden State against the world right now.
Yeah, I don't know why either, man. Steph's had a rough week, man. So I'm going with Steph, man.
You said Jalen Williams knocking on the door of the top 10. I agree with you. We've got our top 100 list coming out this week, and I've got him, I think, somewhere between 10 and 15, 10 and 20, somewhere there. He's right there. But I want to get your take on something because this is something that's going to come out that's already out as people are listening to this show. But I think, this is my hot take of the top 100 because I made out this list. I think that Cade Cunningham is a top 10 guy right now. I've got Cade Cunningham in my top 10. And I made this list even before some of the things I've seen him do in the preseason, which are already ridiculous. But I've got Cade Cunningham top 10 in the NBA right now. What say you?
I'm not against it. Last year, Detroit Pistons, one of the few teams in history to triple their win total from the season before. I think how Cade handled himself in the playoffs. I think how he carries himself night in and night out. He's 6'6". He's a big guard. There's very few people he goes up against where he's rattled. You can see how much his team admires him. And, to get the Pistons back cracking like that, they didn't really make many moves. And he's kind of doing it solo dolo. And I believe, Luka and LeBron James are the quickest over 150 points to so many stat lines. So he's playing at that level. So I'm not against it. And I'm in a big guard. So Cade Cunningham, when he matches up versus your favorite point guard, he does put him on notice. There
is a Luka Doncic quality to his game. He doesn't play with overwhelming speed, but when he gets you on his hip, it's a wrap. When he's able to put you in the position he wants you in, it's over. And last year was the year that I saw him put it all together. I think I had some toughness questions about him early in his career. He dealt with injuries early in his career, but last year, watching him start to finish, play the way he did as a scorer, a shooter, a playmaker, the whole nine, he's the Luka of the East, for lack of a better comparison.
Emphasis on playmaker. He can get you 25, 30 points and then get you 10, 11 assists as well and not turn it over as much. You see the coach has a lot of faith in him, but he really runs that team like a vet. And, once he gets you on his hip, he plays at a different pace. And if you compare him to Luka, he's probably in a little bit better shape than Luka as well and tries to take a little bit more pride on defense. But, Luka's goated. So I don't ever want to disrespect Luka, but you're not crazy for that.
Hey, skinny Luka is in great shape right now.
Oh yeah, that was before food, before American food, right?
Skinny Luka down from the 260 he was around weighing last year. So we touched on Detroit then in the East. It's never it's never been more apparent that the Eastern Conference is the JV conference right now, because you could take you have to go pretty far down the list in the West to find a team that if you just planted them in the Eastern Conference, they wouldn't be the favorite to win the Eastern Conference. There are some good teams up there in the East. Cleveland's probably the favorite to be the number 1 seed. New York coming off a good year. Orlando, I think, will take a big step. But of the teams out there in the East, which one do you see as being the most formidable come playoff time?
I really like Cleveland Cavaliers. I liked them last year. I think they blew too much in the regular season. I was a big fan of when they brought in DeAndre Hunter. I kind of, before Jason Tatum got hurt, I didn't believe any team can match up with the Celtics, no matter how good they did in the regular season, unless they had a big wing lineup. And that's where I thought the Cavaliers were struggling at. So I believe the league, especially teams in the East, are still trying to figure out, Atkinson's offense. That offense is still great. It has a little bit of pace, but they're great in the half court. You got Donovan Mitchell, that's an all NBA player, all-star, guards, and you have length. They're good offensively and defensively. And, anytime a team is top 10 in offense and defense, that puts you in the best position. Besides that, I'm intrigued to see what the New York Knicks could do, with Mike Brown. I think that offense, obviously, Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson, they combine for 50 a night. But I think that Mike Brown is going to be able to do his best of bringing out the others, because last year when they struggled, I feel like they had to go through too much of Jaylen Brown or sometimes too much of Cat, when OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges are very, very good offensive players. They're more than just 3-and-D guys that you get them involved in as well. And when you view Jordan Clarkson, in addition to that, you look at that offense compared to what Mike Brown did in Sacramento, you might have a Malik Monk type vibe where he's going to put in efficient scoring in a loud fashion and loud form. But I really believe it's between those two. And right now, it almost seems like the league is going to have a little extra push to let the Knicks get it done, man. It's almost like rooting for the big shit to win homecoming queen. You know what I mean? It's just like
I can't get the Knicks, to me, like, they'll be good. There's no doubt about it. The Jordan Clarkson addition doesn't do a heck of a lot for me, because we're not talking about Jordan Clarkson from 5 years ago. Like, he was a low percentage shooter last year with Utah, and he's always been kind of a gunner. And we've seen a little bit of that already in preseason. So, like, how does that fit with the Knicks offense, or the Knicks, the whole game plan? Like, Gershon Yabusele, okay, great year last year for a god-awful team. And is he that much different than the Gershon I saw in Boston for a few years? I don't know. I don't know. Like, he had one great summer in the Olympics, and then he had a good statistical year in Philadelphia. That doesn't do a lot. Like, to me, it's going to come down, and maybe you can speak to this. Like, the Knicks, I'm watching them in preseason, and I'm listening to some of the quotes. They're trying to do this free-flowing offense, right? Like, a lot of Jalen Brunson off the ball, dribble handoffs, a lot of extra passes. The Knicks were the 5th best offense in the league last year. Like, the offense wasn't broken. They had a system that worked pretty well. And Jalen Brunson turned into a superstar in this league by being on the ball for the last couple of years. Like, I don't know, E.T. Like, in my head, I'm wondering, like Jalen Brunson's trying to make this all work right now under Mike Brown. But is there any possibility, like, we get to, like, the first 2 months of the season and like, Jalen Brunson's numbers have gone down, like, by 5 or 6 points per game, and he's playing off the ball a lot more, that he's going to be like, screw this. Like, we succeeded with me having the ball in my hands as often as I did. Like, I wonder if there's ever going to be any friction between what these players have done successfully over the last couple of years and what Mike Brown wants to do.
Yeah, I think when it comes down to the NBA, it's one thing when you go on the floor of the game, and it's one thing when it comes down to winning time. Everywhere you go, when it comes down to winning time, you get the ball to your killers. Yeah. So I think once the fourth quarter hits and it's a heavy dose, and Jalen Brunson he's not scared to call his own play either. And I don't think it's in a disrespectful sense. But I think when you first get a new coach, you get a new system, you're trying to change a little bit of identity. I believe he's into, buying in and doing so. But the NBA is always the same thing. It's not about the X's and O's. It's about the Jimmys and Joes. And you're going to give it to your two killers. Mike Brown knows there's nothing that the other team doesn't want to see more than than Jalen Brunson having the ball in his hands. And, when you want to keep your job and all this and you start looking at the numbers, it's going to add up. And I'll give Mike Brown credit for that. But the last 5-10 minutes of the game is always going to turn a fist up 5 and give it to your killer.
And he's proven he can do it remarkably. So I do think you're sleeping a little bit on Orlando, though. I do. I mean, that is a team that physically will beat the crap out of you. I remember talking to people in Boston after they beat the Magic in 5 games in the first round, and it was the hardest 5-game series that they'd ever been in because the Magic will grind you down. They will win games if they can keep it in the 80s. Yeah. And I know they were the 7 seed last year, but that's only because Banchero was out early. Franz Wagner was out in the middle of the season. You had Jalen Suggs missed the second half of the season with that knee injury. Now you get all those guys back, and you get Desmond Bane added to that mix. You have to see how it plays out, right? Is Bane the perfect fit that he kind of looks like on paper? But that team, number 2 defense in the league, top 3 defense the last 2 years. You give them a little bit more offense, Evan, they're going to be a tough team to knock out.
No, absolutely. Desmond Bane showing up, he shoots almost 40% from the 3. That definitely helps because Orlando's historically one of the worst 3-point shooting teams of the decade, right? So if you give a little space of that, or at least that last year team, KCP is there as well. I don't think he'll shoot as bad as he did last year. If you give Paulo and Wagner just a little bit of space, that's a big problem anybody's going to have to deal with. They just need a little bit of space. Sometimes when it came down to it, and Paulo, it would get so crowded that you would see him having to shoot step backs and, go to, hero ball a little bit. But I believe if they find a little bit more shooting, and obviously defense really matters. And when it comes down to playoff basketball, to have to handle those two, even when you look last year, Paulo got hurt, Wagner got hurt, but they still figured out ways to win. When Paulo was out, Wagner averaged 26 and 6, was 13 and 7. You know what I mean? And then vice versa, Paulo still did his thing. Where they fell off at was the glue guy when Jalen Suggs got hurt. And that's where you could tell they struggled. So now that he's back, along with the help of a couple of other pieces, I can see, them making it to, the Eastern Conference Finals and trying to make a push, because those 2 matchups head to head, those are 2 big boys.
Can any of those teams win a finals series against whoever comes out of the West?
Man, that's aggressive. That's aggressive. Why would you ask me that?
I don't know.
I think the East is such a big, it's so open in the East that you're even hearing conversation of Tatum talking about, I might be back in March.
Oh, that'd be bad. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't.
Not
worth it.
I totally dig you. You never know, but who knows what occurs, but it's really that, if you're sitting back and being all we got to do is beat who? The Cavs?
No.
You got to beat, you know what I mean? Maybe you have to beat a hot Orlando, or if you're not
even
worried about.
If you were dropping, and no matter what, I would advise Tatum to sit out the entire year. That's just such a tricky injury and has such a high, sometimes, and you played, so sometimes you don't know when you're overcompensating for certain parts of your body. It might feel great in your Achilles, but you might be overcompensating. I think he needs a full year. And even if he didn't, they're not bringing the same team back, right? Namus Keita is the starting center right now in Boston. Chris Boucher is going to get minutes at power forward. You're just not, you're not built. You're built to win in 25 or 26, 27. That would be my advice to them.
No, absolutely. And this year with Boston Celtics, you hear about them having 3-hour practices. You hear about them, trying to pick it up defensively and being, more tenacious. And I think this is going to draw, Joe Mazzulla to eventually turn out to get into his Coach Spo bag and start winning with whatever he has, and I think that's what he's really, really, really looking forward to. I went to UFC, 317 with him in Chicago, and he was super excited. He's like, no, Jason being out, I want him to come back. I want to be healthy, but he's like, this gives us an opportunity to try some different stuff. He was ready for the challenge to be like, hey, you're not about to tell me I had the richest team in NBA history. We know how to coach. We have a culture, and we have some very good players still. And they do. They have very good guard play. And, they have I believe in culture so much, and you got Luke Cornett over there making noise in San Antonio Spurs, and I know Luke is a good guy. And his career was going to be that, but it was he was founded in a great culture that put him in position to succeed. You know, you got what's Hauser's first name? Love the guy.
Sam Hauser, yeah.
Hauser. But I still don't know his name, but we're talking about Sam Hauser. He's an NBA champion, and he's going to play 10 more years because he has a winning culture, knows what he needs to do. And these guys are going to step up, and they're very serious about winning. So, I mean, I wouldn't night in, night out. No, Jason ain't there, but those guys still went 10-3 without him. I mean, I know it's still not the same team. Don't let me get that wrong, but I mean, you know what Peyton Pritchard do? Jaylen Brown's trying to step up, and you have some hungry guys with a chip on their shoulder, and they're not really worried about anybody in the East, regardless if Jason's out. And it could be delusional, but I don't think so.
No, I don't think it's delusional, and I think they're very much in play for one of those 10 postseason slots. I just think fundamentally, don't bring Tatum back. Don't do it. Yeah. Don't risk it. There's too much runway for him to win championships in the year after. Like, they'll be loaded next year. You bring him back. You got 2 cornerstone guys. Pritchard's still there. White's still there. Hauser's still there. Like, you got a 7-man rotation already before you're talking free agency and trades and all that other good stuff. So, I don't know. I think they're on the same page with that too. Like, I know Tatum, and when I talk to him, you know, I get what he's doing. Like, he wants to mentally be working towards something, but when we get to a certain point of the calendar, you got to be like, hey, man, just start thinking about summer league or something to get back on the floor.
Yeah. Also, too, it's just like not like it's bad, it's legacy, but by the time he comes back, he could arguably be chasing SGA 2-1.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's an easy catch up, but I don't think he likes that at all. We also forget after they beat them in Boston, SGA threw up his logo on the side of TD Garden. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's deeper than rap. I know we're like, yo, you got more money and making more this, than a third. Like, Jason's a competitor. He's thinking like that. Like, nah, nobody's this. You know what I mean? Things are occurring in this league where we're trying to figure out who's a big dog, and he's, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm excited to see it. It's definitely a storyline in the Eastern Conference. But man, like, after watching KD go down after that calf injury in 2019, like, those injuries, even in today's age of modern technology, modern medicine, like, that's the one that scares me the most as someone that watches the game, because you know how serious it is, and that feeling.
Everything has this. Is like, can I get around? It's like, no, you can't get around that, like, like at all. And also too, when you break down like how big of a commodity he is when I told him, I was like, Jason, like, he's like, man, I didn't have time to think. They put me in surgery. I'm like, yeah, because you literally are Jason Tatum. Like, you are $1 billion entity. You know what I mean?
I remember he told me, he's like, he went to the hospital to get it checked and confirmed, and the doc was in there. Martin O'Malley does all the procedures. He's like, I got an opening at 3. Tatum's like, all right, well, let's do it.
And he was like, what? I remember telling me, he's like, what? And they're like, yeah, you're doing this. They're like, no, I know how you feel, but like, no, you you belong.
Better get it done, I guess. Get it over with and start the process, start the road back.
Absolutely. And he's back. So
yeah,
he'll be good. So
Evan, great to have you part of this, man. I'm excited to talk hoops with you every single week. It's going to be a lot of fun getting your insights on everything that's going on in the league, man. Great to start it off this way. And again, looking forward to doing it again next week.
I appreciate you, brother. I'll see you soon, man. Stay safe. Don't work too hard, man.
You got it, buddy.
All right, man. Appreciate you.